Like, you're the manipulated. Like, you're easily manipulated. And I was trying to convince myself I can love people.
He set the bar kind of, not high, but that was a good... He came with flowers.
Yes.
He was gentlemanly.
Because he just didn't like you.
And I was like, I'm not in a competition with you.
He just wanted all of my time, literally.
And we're literally on FaceTime, and she straight up hangs up on me. Hey, like, why are you being such a fucking stalker?
I'm crying, sobbing every day because I feel trapped. And I miss my friend.
Hi, friend.
Hi, friend.
Welcome back to the Friend Podcast. I'm your co-host, Sarah.
I'm your co-host, Sabrina.
Today we come at you from the deck again.
With the new...
Rooftop
terrace.
Yeah. With our new sectional. She's
Ta-da.
pretty great, no?
She is pretty great. This is my first time sitting on it. I'm so excited.
I know we keep like meaning to, and then
it doesn't happen.
But it's been pretty nice out. So the only thing is that we don't have an umbrella big enough to like kind of cover the whole couch. So it's nicer like toward late afternoon.
Yeah. That's the time to be out here.
Yeah. Right now it's
bright.
But the sun's almost about to go behind the house. So Sabrina the other day was like, why do we have all these views by men in like weird countries?
Oh my God.
And I was saying that like most people that have podcasts or like informational YouTube channels get these weird comments about like, oh, could you do that? Like, could you touch, like, could you review that with your feet like up and like stuff like that?
Ew.
Because men are weird.
Ugh, I hate men.
So we have a new rule. The boobs are covered, the feet are covered.
That is right. None for you.
So socks are on, cleavage is covered.
Yeah.
And then we're ready to come to you live. I'm once again matching the color of my couch. The last episode, I was matching the color of my couch. This one, I'm matching the color of my couch. Guys, this is like a shameless plug for the National Parks Department. They have this website of like apparel that supports the parks. Adventure with
cute.
Friends with all of these cute animals.
It's so adorable.
And on the back it has their butts.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So pretty much love this shirt. And I'm a big nature girl as long as nothing touches me.
I love the
nature. Later on this spring, I'll have plants to eat. And I feel like I needed more boxes than I have, but I don't really have room.
You have room.
We're kind of maxed out on furniture up here.
For sure. Point. I feel like if you move the chairs, you would have more room for sure.
I wish we just didn't have these chairs that came with the house.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of bulky.
They are bulky. They're big.
Like, and if that was just
and you can't really put them anywhere.
No. They are where they are. So the girlies have decided over the course of the last few months that we wanted to unpack Nickelodeon Gate. So Nickelodeon, if you remember from our last few episodes, is Sabrina's ex-boyfriend. We're not here to expose the man.
No. Well,
I'm sure the man might run across the podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure he already has.
You think so?
I think so.
But watch at your own traumatic risk.
Yeah.
No one's asking you to unpack it.
That's true.
So, yeah. We're here.
I'm only here to recount my experience. Our experience.
Yeah. We're here to look at it through a friendship lens.
Yes. And
talk to all of you about... I'm sure there's people that have gone through this with their friends in a time period. And to A, say you're not alone. But B, that at the end of the day, men are temporary. Friends are also temporary. However, it's harder to find a good friend that's like a lifelong friend than a partner that you're willing to spend your life with, in my opinion.
I agree.
This could go into the soulmate thing that we talk about.
Yes.
We were going to do a podcast on that, but we could like briefly bring it up.
Yeah.
People always talk about soulmates and how you're marrying your soulmate, whatever. We're here to tell you that your soulmate doesn't have to be your partner.
No.
Because,
it can be a friend.
Yeah.
A family member, if anything. Anybody. Any acquaintance.
So, like, Alex is not my soulmate. And that's not to say that he's not the 100% the type of see, everyone's going to be like,
Oh my God.
Yeah. That is not to say he's not 100% the person that oh my God.
Well, we're still covered.
100% the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with and marry, right? Like,
I think soulmate has become this thing where, like, it has to be a partner. Like, you can only feel that connected with someone.
Well, people always say, like, yeah, your soulmate is your partner, and that's the person that you're going to spend your life with, and da-da-da. No.
No.
I love Alex. We have plenty in common. Obviously, I like him enough to marry him, right?
Yeah.
But he's not, like, my soulmate connection.
No.
The friendship Sabrina and I have is not one that I was looking for something in a man to do for me.
Right.
I wasn't looking for that void.
Yeah.
It was filling something else.
Yeah. If you think about the word soulmate, it's in relation to the soul, like how you feel deep down in connection with someone else's soul. And so, like, we
came up with the idea.
Yeah.
I think. We coined the idea. I'm sure someone else has thought it, but we thought about how a soulmate just doesn't have to be a man.
No.
Or your man. It can be your best friend. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
The Friend podcast is founded by a pair of soulmates.
Yes.
However, that doesn't mean that we don't have other people in our lives that we have strong connections with, whatever. But it's just different.
It's just different.
So, Sabrina, Nickelodeon was, see that big bee? Mm-hmm. But it's not going to bite us, right? Because
no.
It's going to go in the house, right?
Yeah. Close that door. Imagine. And I would be the one to get stung in the middle of the night too.
So Sabrina has only had one serious boyfriend so far. Others we've had other relations, but this was the serious relationship.
Yes.
We should preface, Sabrina asked me to timeline moderate as the in-house yapper.
In-house yapper, absolutely.
And
the podcast yapper.
She will
chime in,
insert her tidbits along the way, as we both experience this from a very, very different perspective per person.
Yes.
So we went to high school with Nickelodeon. We were in the International Baccalaureate program. Scholars. And Nickelodeon was in our classes. We both had independent friendships with him.
Yes.
Ours was more of like a ha-ha relationship, like a funny relationship. You both had crushes on each other.
Yeah, we had crushes on each other. So it was more so of a friendship.
Going back to the immigration episode Sabrina did a few weeks ago, Nickelodeon, well, she didn't want to get into a relationship with Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon was pursuing her.
Yes.
And she didn't want to get into a relationship because she was under the impression that in 2018 she was going back to Brazil.
Yes.
So, but Nickelodeon was into her. And from my perspective, I thought she didn't like him at all because of the way she was acting.
Yeah, and I like to add my tidbit to that. Throughout my entire life, I've been very, like, shy with crushes and stuff because I've been known to be a little crazy with them. If you've watched the Crush Chronicles, your girl was a little delulu. And so I've always been a little, like, afraid to tell you anything about crushes because I feel like I'm always going to be judged or something, although it doesn't matter anymore. But, like, back then in school, I crushed on people very hard and I didn't want it to be known. So that's how that
just
was.
Unlocked a whole other memory for me.
I know, right?
Of me being like, I don't know why you didn't tell me this. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. I knew that would.
So we went to prom. She went to prom alone. Not alone. We went all together, but she didn't have a date. He really wanted to go with Sabrina. But Sabrina said no.
I don't think he ever asked.
Oh, he never asked. He was scared.
Yeah.
Fast forward a couple months. I'm getting my nails done. I literally remember this. I'm getting a pedicure. And I don't get pedicures anymore. Back in the day, your girl got pedicures. And he was texting me saying he had this grand plan for Sabrina. That he was going to... We already talked about this.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so if you didn't watch that, he was going to go back. He wanted to ask her to his house to do a redo prom of the prom they never got.
Yes. And you told me about this, and I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
that's
she
too
was like,
awkward.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And so
time passed.
Time passed.
Until one fateful night.
One fateful night where I found him on Snapchat, like suggested Snapchat friends. And I decided, why not? I added him and I snapped him. Long time no see, blah, 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 all that, you know? And we started talking again. And then we, like, professed our past crushes on each other, and that's how it all started.
Then you decided to go on a date.
Yes.
It was a known date, though.
Yeah.
Like, they both decided they were going on this date. That's when I was like, I'm so confused because you said you never liked him. That's a yellow jacket, but it's going away. I'm so confused because you said you never liked him, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, well, I didn't want you to know. Yeah. And I was like, why didn't you want me to know?
So that was the beginning of, like...
The end, bro.
That was the beginning of the end. That was when we first, like, butt heads because
I felt like she was lying.
Yeah. And...
Not lying.
I kept that from you.
Yeah.
And...
In a relationship where, like, we never keep anything from each other.
Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely kept that from you. And... it just goes back to me being so, like, insecure and weird about crushes and liking people. I don't know. I was just, like, a weird, I was just insecure.
Yeah.
That's really, like, the basis of it. I was insecure and weird, and I didn't want to be judged in any way.
So we should also preface by saying that I am an extremely jealous person.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gotten worlds better as I've aged. But I always knew it was irrational.
Yeah.
Like, I would never have said to somebody, like, I'm being so rational right now in the way that I'm acting.
Yeah.
I always knew that I was a jealous person.
Yeah. That was definitely another,
Yeah. And the closer I am with you, the more jealous I am. So, like, to me, I am, not actually, but in my brain, I'm like, I'm Sabrina. Actually, not in my brain. This is, like, a true fact. We are each other's, like, number one person. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's other people. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, oh my God.
Go to talk to about anything.
Also, though, I do worry about, it's really been the Three Musketeers for, like, ever. It's been me, Alex, and Sabrina. And we've never, not always, Sabrina and Alex haven't always had a relationship, but it always has been the three of us. Mm-hmm. And it's not like a couple-y, like, Sabrina, or Alex and I are not really, like, touchy to begin with, I feel like.
No.
So it's not, like, weird third wheel. Like, we really just do everything together. So I do worry about, even now after this whole happened, like, what it would be like to add another person into that.
Yeah.
Because while it wasn't necessarily a factor for her to like Alex when we started dating, because, like, we were so young. Like,
yeah, it didn't matter.
Now I'm like, how is this adult person gonna mesh into
our vibe.
Like, vibe?
Yeah.
Right. Like, we have routines also as the three of us that, like, we all fall into very easily. That
yes.
It's just very... It'll be interesting to see.
Also,
look, there's the government.
It's also
in the little chemtrail.
Totally. Oh my God.
If you watch our last episode, there's the government's flying by right now.
But, I see the plane, so I know it's okay.
But look at all the trail after it. What is that? Huh?
They're watching us.
So that's, like, something that I was worried about from the beginning. So they're going on this date, and I begin to catastrophize.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is it. We're losing her forever. Da-da-da. They go to the botanical gardens? No. Brookside.
Some park.
Not Brookside.
We didn't go to a...
Whatever. They go to a garden.
Yeah.
What happens?
It was a good first date. We just walked and talked and...
It did end with a kiss.
Yes, we caught...
Oh, he got you flowers.
Yeah, he did get me flowers. That was cute. We just, like, it was just catching up because we had been speaking on, like, we've been texting for, like, a month before that date. But we hadn't seen each other.
Yeah. Oh, he was still away. He went to school in a different state.
Yes. Maybe not a month, a few weeks, but...
Oh my God, remember when you... Never mind, that's for later.
Oh, no. So, yeah, it was a good first date. I was very excited. I thought it was... I don't know. That was my first real first date. So I was just like, yeah, nice.
He set the bar kind of, not high, but that was a good... He came with flowers. Yes. He was gentlemanly, whatever.
He's very good at that.
Yes. Because it's to cover up other things. Then, after that date, he goes back to school. Yes. This is like March. It's definitely middle second semester.
Yes.
So he goes to school far away, like 6-7 hours from here. So it was a lot of just them talking.
Yeah.
The second date comes around. And, well, actually, First, she was planning to somehow get all the way down to where he went to school, taking trains, planes, and automobiles.
Actually, I'm going to butt in, yeah. So after the first date, I'd like to say that on his side, I mean, I can't speak for him, but what I sensed was that he was a little... He wanted to, like, take things further. He wanted to be like, I want to see you all the time, which is, like, I guess is normal, you know? That's, like, something that happens with dating people. And I didn't feel the same way. I am not very mushy and romantic, so I didn't really want, like, to see him all the time. I would have been completely content with not. But he kept telling me, like, I really want to see you. Is there any way you can come down?
But you also were
bad, so I tried to make that happen.
Right. So her mom and I were like, why are you so delusional and trying to get all the way down to see this man? Because you barely know him. Not barely know him, but you barely started dating.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody was like, what is going on? Why are you acting so different? In reality, I didn't really feel that way about him. I wasn't delusional. I didn't really want to see him. I just let him believe that I was wrong for not wanting to see him. You know? So I felt bad.
Okay.
I was just like, this is what people do when they're dating, I guess.
So then he comes home to see her again.
Yes.
This is like a month later.
Mm-hmm.
We're on FaceTime. She's waiting for him to pick her up.
Yeah.
And we're literally on FaceTime, and she straight up hangs up on me mid fucking sentence to go meet him. Yeah. And I was like, no bye, no nothing. She just literally was like, Yee.
Yeah. And
I was like,
total nerves, total, like, not even knowing what to do. Like, I was like,
right.
I was tweaking. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm nervous.
Even though you already saw him.
I know. I think it's because I low-key didn't...
Wait. We forgot, because he asked you to be his girlfriend right after this first date.
No.
Oh, it was second. Oh, I was with Molly, remember?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was like, what the fuck? And I got annoyed. Because I was like, first of all, you're acting different. Second of all, now you're hanging up like mid-sentence. It was just weird. Yeah. It's not her.
Yeah. It simply wasn't me. Like, I don't know. It wasn't me trying to, like, me not caring to talk to you or anything. It was just, like, weird nerves because I don't really understand how I feel about this guy.
Yeah. Where did you do second date?
I actually went to his parents' house somehow for some reason.
Well, he was rushing shit.
Yeah. We went to the museum, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
We went to a museum, walked around, and then we stopped by his house. Because he wanted to be a museum
curator. That's his thing.
And we stopped by his house, and I met his parents. Second date. Jesus Christ. I hate this. I'm so... Don't do that, guys. Don't do it. I don't care how long you've known people. It was all, like, extremely rushed. I don't necessarily think it was fully intentional, but, like... It did feel very rushed, and
I think that the thing that really fueled the fire in the, like, pace of the relationship was that we had actually known him for so much longer. Mm-hmm. So you had known him for, like, 7 years.
Yeah.
6 years, but it seemed like you just met to you.
Exactly. So
to him it wasn't.
No, I think that's exactly what it was. And his
crush also never went away. Yours kind of went away.
Yeah, I was trying to rekindle that feeling that I had when I first had a crush on him, and I believe he, like, just sort of wanted to. He was into me, and he, like, just wanted to pursue it properly, and I was still trying to. It was low-key like I first met him. I was still trying to figure out who he was and if I even really liked him.
Yeah.
So that's where it didn't connect.
So then he comes home then he asked me whether he should ask you out.
Yeah.
And I said, because he wanted to wait a little longer, and I said, I don't really see a point in waiting because you said you liked him, and so he asked her to be his girlfriend, like, after the second date.
Yes.
Which was premeditated by me. He asked me.
Yeah.
So at first we were all kind of not like I wasn't texting him every night, but we were, like, all talking, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he was driving her to work a lot, and her work's right near me. Mm-hmm. And well, then you started hanging out every day. Yeah. When he got home from school.
Started hanging out every day.
Every day, like, dusk to dawn.
He always asked me
Not dusk to dawn, that's nighttime.
Daytime. He asked me to
dawn to dusk.
Right. He always asked me to see him because he felt like he missed so much time with me.
That was the whole thing, the time thing.
The time. Like, he always wanted, like, he was like, oh, I'm at school, I can't see you for those 2 months that we were talking only. And so he just felt like we missed a lot of time. I didn't feel that way, but the way he expressed it seemed like I don't know. The way he expressed it just seemed like such a big deal to him. So I decided to cave in and just be like, fine, I can see you, I guess.
So that, like, when he first got home, honestly, I didn't see her basically at all for the whole time they were dating.
Yeah.
And that's when it started, though, like, the whole, like, every single day thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then I saw he dropped her off at work because he was driving her everywhere and stuff.
Yeah.
He dropped her off at work, and that was the first time I had seen him in, like, 3 years.
Yeah, in person.
Yeah. I was fully ready to be like, hey, like, how are you? Whatever.
Yeah.
I get out of the car. Why was I there? Oh, I was going to watch Lily.
Yeah.
We all work in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, we all work there.
So I was like, hey, like, how are you? Whatever. And he was just like, oh, hi there.
And he sped off.
And he literally was like, gotta go get a birthday present for my mom. And he, like, guns it through a residential neighborhood at, like, 60 miles an hour to, like, run away from me.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I was being weird.
I gotta also preface that, like, we had been having awkward ever since I hung up on you. Ever since we had that little weird argument about, like, why are you lying to me about liking him? I had, like...
The foundation was rocky.
Yeah, but I also had confided in him a little bit about, like, I don't know what's going on with our friendship.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think he already
naturally.
had, like, these opinions of you that he didn't quite... So he had already, like, had...
I had no opinion.
Right. He was, like... I don't know. Should I bring up the fact that he also had, like, problems with his best friend at the time?
Oh, yeah.
They fell out. Is that the word?
Fell
off. They completely stopped being friends.
Yeah. Over dumb shit.
Yeah.
That he claims. The other thing about him, in hindsight, is that he complained a lot about other people wronging him. Like, he was always a victim and everything.
Yes, yeah.
And... But people who are normally full of themselves have deeply rooted insecurities about themselves. So he was always the victim. Like, every relationship, it was the girl that did him wrong. Every friendship, it was the other person. But when you listen to his stories, you're like...
It made sense why.
Yeah. And then after we experienced it, we were like, oh.
Yeah, so he had these personal issues with him and his best friend. And so I think me, you know, confiding in him about us and being, like, me being emotional about us kind of made him also emotional and have opinions about you. So he was weird.
He was weird. And so then I was like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And so then started the telephone where I'd be like, your boyfriend's weird, and he'd be like, your friend's weird. And then it began.
Yeah.
So it's unnatural and unlike her to spend every waking moment with anybody.
Extremely, yeah.
And I was like, why are you always over there? She immediately gets defensive.
My love language is quality time.
But
and
not all the time.
I've always told you, like, I always feel guilty when I'm not spending enough time with people that I love. Like, when I'm away from my parents too much, I feel bad. When I'm away from you, I feel bad. And whenever somebody expresses, like, I miss you or I want you around, I, like, freak out. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not doing what I should be doing. So that was yet another thing that I was insecure with him, because he said that all the time to me. So I was like, am I not giving you enough of my time? So I just...
But every day was not enough?
Right. I don't know what's wrong with him, but, like,
they also both
he needed my time.
He was from home from college, and she lives with her parents. They were both at each other's
parents.
No, you were always at his house.
Yeah.
That was another thing. Control it.
That was another thing that really bothered me. He always wanted me to come over to his house, and it was rarely with my parents at my house because I don't know. I guess he always expressed that he was very, like, just, like, shy, and he felt awkward. He didn't want to be there. It'd be, like, a whole thing to, like, for him to, like, talk to my dad. Him meeting my parents for the first time was such a deal. He was, like, so nervous. He was so, like, he was, like, the type of person that could run away in the moment, you know? Meanwhile, when I first met his parents, I felt pretty chill. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be awkward. It's a weird thing to have to meet the other person's parents, but, like, it happens. So when he felt that way with my parents and he didn't want to be over often, I was like...
Neither of us were feeling secure in our friendship, so neither of the person told the other what they were feeling.
Yeah.
But after the fact, Sabrina was like, I was seeing red flags all the time. I just wanted to... So historically, Sabrina likes to be alone.
Yes. I like my alone time.
So she was like, maybe I can't find anyone that maybe I'm incapable of finding love. That was her whole thing.
Yeah.
So this whole thing was rooted in her trying to prove to herself that she could be in a relationship with somebody.
Yeah, that's what I found out afterwards.
Right. So, and I was like, just seeing it from an outsider's perspective, like, she was just changing so much. And I was like,
yeah,
what are you? And this is your reminder, ladies, that you should not have to change for a person who is your long-term partner.
Yes, absolutely.
And
I also think I went into it with absolutely the wrong intentions. Originally it started with just like, I want to get to know this guy that I used to like.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really know each other, but I wanted to get to know him and possibly date him. It ended up turning into him liking me a lot and me still trying to figure it out. And
he was rushing it. He was talking about like moving in together.
Yeah, he was rushing it, talking about kids even. And so and so like quickly for me it turned into me trying to prove to myself that I'm capable of loving someone, because I thought that's a deeply rooted issue that I have, that insecurity that I think I've always struggled with. I feel like I'm very capable of crushing on people, but when it comes to being with them, I just shut down or something.
You've also never had a person prove to you that the crush is the same as the relationship.
Yeah, I've never had an experience with a relationship, so I really was just like in my head constantly, and I, for some reason, came up with this narrative that I'm incapable of loving someone and that I'm non-committal. But it's not true if I never even had the opportunity to be committal, right? So, yeah. And so it turned in, the intention began normal, just wanting to get to know the guy, and it turned into something absolutely not. That should not be the reason for staying with someone.
And our friendship basically suffered the entire time. Like, we were never on good terms basically the whole time.
Yeah. I think we never told each other the truth about how we felt truly.
I did, I feel like.
You did about
But I was not
me.
being, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we talked a lot about our friendship. We didn't really want to bring the boy into it.
Right.
I don't know why, because we should have.
Right.
I think it's because I was in this weird insecure state. You also, I think, could tell, and you didn't want to touch too much on it because I feel like you didn't want me to push you away, which is totally normal.
But then I feel like I was coming at it from I didn't have the right. Most of the things in life, y'all, are about the delivery, not about the content. And I was not delivering my messages well. I was just I was just angry. And then she was so vulnerable that it just like didn't work out.
Yeah.
So then I was noticing, like, we have each other's location, and she was always fucking there. Yeah. Girlfriend accused me of being a stalker. She literally said, okay, like, why are you being such a fucking stalker?
Why are you checking my location?
And I was like, isn't that the whole point? To make sure you're not dead?
Yeah.
Or being whatever. But it's also like, every time I checked it, she was literally there every day. I was there
all of the time, and deep down, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be there. I don't know why I always chose.
He also had problems with his parents.
To be there. That's
not what we're
there
talking about.
There were a gajillion red flags. Like, there was so many, and you told me a lot of them, and every time it came out of your mouth, I think because of the delivery and also because we had a weird thing going on, I was just like, no, you're wrong. Let me figure this out. And so I wouldn't hear it from her. But it's true. All the red flags that you mentioned were true, and it took me a while to realize them, but yes, they were all true.
Basically, I wouldn't say I even stopped hanging out with her because I literally didn't have an option. She wasn't there. So I started, like, putting myself into other friendships. I was like,
yeah,
well, if you're not going to be around, then I'm not going to just not be with people. And I also, naturally, Sabrina, so at that time, I never stopped going to school. I've been in school since I was 7. So I never quit or like took a break. So I was still meeting people in my college classes, and you were jealous that I was hanging out with them.
Yes, I was. We always joke that you're very jealous and I'm not.
And you were like,
and that was the first time I felt so jealous because I knew that our relationship was rocky and I thought I was going to lose you as a friend.
Right. And I feel like I wasn't hanging out with them to make her jealous.
Yeah. Naturally.
Obviously, like, I was just hanging out with them because
who else are you going to hang out with?
I mean, I also do hang out with other friends. Like, I don't know. I wasn't doing it to make her jealous.
You're filling a void, maybe.
Yeah, but
it was
I was socially deprived. Yeah. Like, I hadn't seen anybody to hang out with besides Alex. 2 months.
Yeah.
So we basically spent every other day, like, in, like, yelling matches. Actually, over text.
It was us walking on eggshells every single day.
But I was repeatedly telling her that it was him.
Yeah.
Like, I said, this is not, like, think about the fact that this was never a problem before. Like, whatever. And she'd be like, well, you need to understand that he also blah, blah, blah. Like, she was very defensive over him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like, I get it, but this has never been a problem in our relationship until now.
Yeah.
Because we had literally only had that one weird month we were annoyed with each other. We don't remember why.
Yeah, we still don't know why.
Because the only time we've ever had something to that level.
Mm-hmm.
And so it did seem rather weird that it was happening to me.
Yeah.
But she was not willing to hear that it was him.
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't know why. I was so deeply...
Her whole thing was that I was changing.
Yeah, I thought I was... My perception of you at that time was I thought that your true colors were showing that, like, you're just an overly jealous person, and I didn't like that about you. So that's...
After...
Even though I knew that.
8 years...
Yeah,
7 years of being friends, all of a sudden, I was actually going to be showing my true colors at 7 years.
Right, I was like...
Not in a year.
So she's been biting her tongue all this time. She's just overly jealous, and she would always be on my case.
This way.
No. And since then, I totally understand you on that.
I think I was, and that really bothered me that she was all of a sudden telling me that I was a different person because I thought she was being a different person.
Yeah.
So it's very like...
It's wild.
Yeah.
In retrospect, I absolutely was a different person. Like, I actually try to look back at that time, and I can't recognize myself.
I don't think I was acting any different than
I think you were acting on emotion, but that's normal.
Right, but I wasn't acting legitimately different than I normally am.
No. Nothing unexpected.
No. So, we were basically arguing all the time, and my friend Caroline had offered to go... My friend Caroline lives in Outer Banks, and she, for her birthday, was going to go camping in Frisco, and she invited me and Sabrina to go. And originally, we had said yes before they started dating.
Yes.
And a couple weeks before, she's like begging me to still take her, essentially.
Yeah.
She's like, but can I still go? And I was like, I don't really fucking like you. And she was like, I remember you literally like basically saying like, I still really want to go, like,
yeah,
whatever.
That was low-key. That was a piece of me wanting to escape my boyfriend and also wanting like to rekindle, like to figure out what the hell is going on between us.
So we decided,
do it.
Let's do it. We're going to go. Whole weekend was fine.
Yeah.
We were having fun, whatever. Last night, there, and we're trying to figure out, like, rides and stuff to, like, how she's going to get home from my house after we get back, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I was still living at my parents' house. I don't drink or smoke.
Yeah.
Just to be clear. Like, I'm always sober.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm basically always sober.
Yeah.
I get high on interacting with people. I love just being fucking crazy to be crazy. So
no substances needed.
No substances needed. So I'm like, I'm going to call and ask if he can give her a ride.
Yeah.
It didn't seem weird to me.
Yeah. In retrospect, it didn't seem weird to me either.
So I was like...
I did feel weird about it because I knew he'd be weird about it.
Right. So I call him and I'm like, hey, like, can you give Sabrina a ride? Whatever, I'm being animated.
Yeah.
Because I'm animated.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Hang up. Immediately calls Sabrina. Hey, babe. I just really didn't like the way that Sarah just called me.
Yeah.
And because apparently in college, people called him as a DD, and he was traumatized or like something by that. And so he decided that I was triggering him.
Yeah.
By asking if he could give her a ride.
Yes.
And she goes, I knew you wouldn't like that. As if, like, I was like, okay.
Now I understand why you felt the way that you felt with me saying that. But to me, it really was just like, I knew this would go not well because I know him. And I knew he would react some way similar. And I was trying to be sensitive of his emotions because obviously he's traumatized.
But then something happened and that turned into a big argument.
Yeah. You said that I was being defensive of him. Why do I never defend you?
First he wanted to have a long conversation with you about me before I did anything.
That's true. Yeah. And I was like, no.
But why?
Because he just didn't like you.
Oh, so that's when it came to a head for him, that he was like, you have a bad friend and she's not, like, you don't, like, basically
she's trying to come between us.
Yeah. Okay. That's the other thing. A man should know. We've been friends for 10 years?
More.
12 years.
Yeah.
Whoever comes next should automatically know that this is already established, and you are the one coming into it.
Yeah.
I'm not coming into shit. That's all I'm saying.
He knew that. He told that to me once. He was like, I'm gonna be the bad guy no matter what. If this ends between us, like, or like, there's only one way it can go, and that is it ending between us, and she's your friend, and you guys, like, just
at least he fucking
reconcile.
knew.
He knew it, and I think that's why he acted crazier.
So he's texting her all this shit about me, saying I'm this, that, and the other thing, on our drive home from Frisco.
Yes.
Then I was like, I'm sick of this telephone bullshit, because she would never take a side when she was talking to the other person. She was always defending the other person to the other person. So with me, she was defending...
I just wanted them to be friends or something.
She was defending Nickelodeon to me while she was on the phone with me, and then when she was talking to Nickelodeon, she was defending me, but neither of us ever heard her defend the other person.
Yeah.
So we were like, you're on his side,
so then
you're
I
on
was
her
the bad
side.
guy.
Right. So I was like, I'm sick of this telephone shit. I'm calling him myself. Notice how this happened the minute we crossed the state lines into Maryland. That's all I'm saying. I call him, and I'm like, hello. Whatever, we had the awkward thing, and I'm like, I'm just, like, I'm calling you as an adult to, like, explain to you, like, to talk face to face, because obviously, or, like, person to person, because obviously stuff's getting lost in translation, and I'm tired of it.
Yes.
And I felt like I was being very mature. I was like, I don't like the way that you've been monopolizing my friend, and you're acting possessive, and you keep feeding her this shit about how I'm a bad friend, and how I'm this, that, and the other thing, when that's not true. He didn't like that. And he was like, I'm just saying, like, this whole thing was time.
It was always
time. You had 10 years before this, and now I have my 10 years, was essentially his
It's so funny
thing. He was like, you get these vacations with her, like Frisco and Michigan, and I'm never gonna have that. Everything's whiny with him. And I was like, I'm not in a competition with you. For I have those vacations because her parents know we're not having sex. Like, his whole thing, they weren't allowed to really sleep over at each other's houses.
No.
Her dad didn't want that, and she lives in his house, so really, ultimately, it's his rules. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think it'd be the same now, because you are, like, 25, almost, but we were still, like, 22, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Knew it, young-ish, yeah.
Ultimately, she lives in their house, and that was their rule.
Yes.
And he was so obsessed with this fact that she got to sleep over at my house and come to my vacations, and I was like...
It was always the time.
And I was like, well, I'm not sexually in a relationship with her. Even though at the time they did think that when we were like 13.
Yeah.
But so that's why I get them.
Yeah.
Like, and he just everything was so unfair. Then he goes into this whole thing about how, don't you get it, Sarah? Because every night you get to fall asleep next to the person you love, and I don't get to do that. And it was all about, like, how he's trying to make up for this time by having her all the time.
Being possessive.
Right.
Was
this after the priorities fight? This was before.
Priorities fight was wild. So after, do you want to continue or?
Well, we had a blowout argument.
Yes.
Then Sabrina's...
Us.
No,
you two.
We had a blowout argument, him and I. Then Sabrina gets on the phone with him, is like pacing around my parents' backyard. Alex and I are standing in the screen door legitimately laughing at her. Because I was like, look at her right now. And Alex was like, what is wrong with her? I'm like, I don't fucking know. She comes inside, she's like, I'm worried, Sarah, that I'm going to lose my boyfriend because of you. She literally said that to me.
Ew.
And I was like...
I'm so disgusted.
And I was literally like, hurrah. Yay.
Hurrah! Woo!
Like, ee! Lose him, bitch!
Yeah. At that point, I just felt that they were so against each other, and, like, in my head, that can't be. Because I, like, wanted you both in my life. I thought I did. And so, to me, I was just like, they're gonna hate each other forever, and somehow... And I was like, okay, somebody needs to fix it. Obviously, I looked at him. I was like, he's not gonna fucking fix it.
So I
turned to her. I was like, you have to fix this. Which is ridiculous. You don't have to fix anything.
then this is a month out from them breaking up. You broke up in June, and this was May.
Yes.
So,
damn, I don't remember the month.
I only remember this because we were in Frisco. I know this by birthdays.
This is why we need her, because I literally don't remember anything.
Caroline's birthday was May. That's when we went to Frisco. Mm-hmm. Alex's birthday party was in June, and that's when you broke up.
Yeah.
So we basically stopped talking.
Yeah.
Actually, no. You know what's really fucking funny? We were arguing so bad, and we never stopped talking.
We were so afraid to stop talking.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we were both falling asleep every night, sobbing.
Yeah. Over the boy? No.
No. We were like, oh my god.
I was like, oh my god.
And Alex was trying to be my girly pop friend. God bless him. And he was like, yeah, she's just so... And he really tried to gossip with me, but he's just not the one. But he really took on that role, and for that...
You know what really didn't help?
What?
Is I also talked to my parents about all of this, and my parents, they just have a thing with you. I don't know what it is. They love you.
Yes.
But they, like, always are like, well, this is your first boyfriend. She should, like, give you some space. They just, like, always are going to side with, I don't know, whatever is easiest in their head.
Love me.
Yes.
But Sabrina is the submissive one in the friendship.
Yes.
So they do, and it's their daughter. So they do sometimes think that I make choices for her. That's always been a thing that they feel.
Yeah.
It was really bad in the beginning. Then it went away for a long time.
Yeah.
But then they started thinking that I was making choices for her in the relationship.
Yeah.
Which is funny as hell because I didn't like it.
I also painted the picture wrong because that's how I perceived it. And obviously how I expressed it to them. So they're like, Sarah.
Yeah. Right.
So
meanwhile, my dad's like, I'm gonna kill this man if he ever breaks up your friendship. I know where he lives, blah, blah, blah. My dad was like, I can't believe someone would come in between you. Because so, my parents, on the other hand, adopted Sabrina and really do, like, care for her and try to be there for her as parents when they can be. And my dad is extremely protective over our friendship.
Yeah.
I feel like he's always been like that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, my dad's whole thing is like, this friendship is the foundation of my entire life, and if you are not friends, I am dying.
I love him, bro.
I think he doesn't feel anything about... I would borderline say he cares more about you than Alex.
Really?
I feel like probably.
That's
my dad's
crazy.
whole thing, though, is relationships and how, like, you really have to hold on to them in life because he didn't do that, and, like, he regrets it and blah, blah, blah. So, I'm, like, crying, sobbing every day.
Same.
Thinking she's, like, dance partying every day. Nah.
I'm crying, sobbing every day because I feel trapped and I miss my friend.
So then about 2 weeks before they break up, we're working in the same neighborhood again.
Aren't we always?
Joe picks her up, and we just happen to be leaving at the same time.
This is so funny.
I catch her at a stoplight, and I roll my window down, and I'm like, hi. And she goes, who are you? Dead face like that. Who are you?
Tell me I wasn't myself.
Then she goes, and I was like, was that supposed to be a joke? And she goes, yeah. And she rolls up the window. I was mortified that I had just partaken in such an interaction. Like, I was like, what the fuck?
I was dead inside.
You would have thought we were just, like, two random strangers at the grocery store.
Literally. You know how the other day you said you are a shell of a woman?
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
So, I cannot get away from this interaction fast enough. It's like a 40-mile-per-hour road. I must have been going 70. I take the turn at rollover speed. Like, I could have 100% flipped my car. I get home and I'm like, babe, you would not believe the interaction I just had with Sabrina.
Yeah. After that interaction, I also, the windows go up. I go, oh my God.
Because I didn't know that he had told her that what did he say to you?
Oh, me and him, we were low-key fighting because he said that he doesn't, this is so funny to me to this day. He said that, he feels like an Uber driver because I always call him for a drive. Keep in mind that he is the one who always wanted my time, and he always made it a point to say, I can pick you up anytime.
He was possessive over it.
He actually pushed for it. I was like, oh, I can take the metro if you're busy. It's fine. I did ask, but I was like, I can take the metro. Don't worry about it. He was like, no, I can do it. So
every time
he chose it, and he still complained that, like, okay, here's the real deal. Every time he picked me up, I would go on Venmo and request money from the dad that I nanny for. That's like what I do.
I forgot about that.
And so every time he thought I was just like messing around on my phone and not paying attention to him. No, I'm just completing my job for today. And so he was like, why are you always like, I just feel like an Uber driver. You don't even talk to me and I pick you up. I'm like, are you kidding? So yeah, we argued about that.
So I didn't know they were arguing when I did the roll down the window thing. Anyway, I get home and I'm like, wow, I'm probably never going to talk to that girl again because what the fuck was that? And then we don't talk for a while. I invite him to my boyfriend at the time's birthday. Alex's birthday.
Yeah.
I invited him. Because I feel like I attempted to continue to try to interact.
Yeah.
Even after, I was like, fuck it, then.
You really did.
Here I go.
You really did, yeah.
So I invited him, and he tentatively said yes. Because we were trying to turn over a new leaf. That was the whole thing. We decided we were turning over a new fucking leaf. Me and the devil. We're turning over a new leaf.
Me and the devil.
The day of the party.
Yeah.
Because first the story was he was too tired or something, right? Yeah. Or he had work.
He never wanted to go. He expressed to me he didn't want to go. And I was just like, keep it in mind. Like, just think about it. Like, decide, just
wait, the priorities fight happened before this.
Oh, yeah, the priorities fight. We continued. I was always at his house. Nothing changed. But Sarah and I were going through such a rocky time that I was always complaining about it to him. I was literally, like, distraught every single day of my life. I go to sleep crying. I wake up crying. And so, like, obviously he's not going to have the best of me. I'm not like, okay, babe, let's go on another date. So I'm always sad. And he's, like, always bothered by that. And so kind of over it. And he was like, why is this such a priority for you? Like, why are you so worried about your friendship with her? Like, why can't we just like focus on us and whatnot? And I was like, I can't just put it aside. I can't stop feeling what I'm feeling. And then somehow that argument turned into him not being a priority in my life. And I was like, well, you're my boyfriend. You're a priority, but my best friend is also a priority. My family's also a priority. At this time, he also complained that I was spending time with my family. He just wanted all of my time, literally. He still complained that I was never with him enough. Even though, to me, I was over there way too much. And so I was like, first of all, no, that's not how you are a priority. Everybody is a priority, but there's different times. When Sarah and I are having this huge problem, obviously that's going to occupy my mind. And then also at the same time, I felt guilty that I wasn't spending time with my family. So he wasn't the priority in that moment. And that's what he was complaining about.
He wanted to be the priority all the time.
His argument
is.
His argument.
It's a duck.
Aw.
The disassociation goes crazy.
I really needed that.
Oh, here's this wasp was about to come in.
Oh, no. So his argument was that when you are with someone, your partner should be the priority all the time. And I just could not. That was numero uno. The first red flag that went straight to my brain. The first one that made it in. I was like, absolutely not. That sounds ridiculous. So we had that huge fight, and we never.
Because like,
we never.
If I have cancer, and I'm in the hospital, maybe I'll be the priority that week.
Right.
And then her parents might have something, and they're the priority that week.
Also, we were dating for like, 3 months? You are not a priority in any way. Like, I even told him during the fight, I was like, my dog is more of a priority than you are.
Oh, and he didn't like that.
No, he hated that. Well, was I wrong?
Oh, we are who we are. I would just like him to look back and notice that we quite literally are all still here beside him.
Yeah. I don't understand. I can't speak for him. I don't understand where his possessiveness comes from. I don't know if that's just who he is in relationships. I don't know if it was something more personal that was going on at the time. But the way that he treated me and reacted to me, despite like how messed up I was for still like leading him on low-key, because I didn't really want to be with him. I told him I loved him. I don't. I have a bad habit of doing that. I really do. It's really bad. Again, I was trying to convince myself I can love people. Anywho, I did bad shit, but the way he treated me was also terribly. So.
Right. So, Alex's birthday party comes around. She's there. And she's like, It's like right after you have a really bad headache or something. No, like a bad cold, and then you start sniffing again. And you're like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing.
Yeah. I literally had never felt more alive.
35 people were at our house, because we used to have pretty good house parties.
Yeah.
Alex's whole family, or all of his friends were there. Our friends were there. And she was just having a good time. Wasn't there. She had no phone. And she was like...
It was just a glimpse into my past.
I was like talking to other people, but...
Oh, good Lord.
But I guess she was she was playing spike ball with Alex's friend Jarrett and Chrissy.
Yeah.
And I guess...
That's all it takes.
They basically convinced her that she should break up with this man.
I was just complaining left and right about you, about him, and they were like, why is this happening? Even Jarrett, of all people, was like, why are you still with him? And I was like, why am I still with him?
One thing about Sabrina is she can be convinced to do anything, to quit anything.
I realized I had a friend at this party, actually, tell me...
Who?
He was... Jeremy.
Oh.
He was like, you're the manipulated. Like, you're easily manipulated.
Then Jeremy stays at our house till like 2 a.m. that night. Remember? We were all snuggling on the couch.
Yeah.
All three of us while Alex was playing video games.
Heart to heart.
Yeah, and we were all just like unpacking everything and like, we gotta get rid of this man. Yeah. That morning, she's talking about what with him?
No, let's not put this on
Okay,
the
we were
pod.
talking. They were
personal.
talking about personal things. That night, we were in the pool with our nanny kids.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, I need to talk to you later. And he goes, oh, well, then he brings back this trauma that he has, that he can't wait to hear what she has to say because he's traumatic. Or he's traumatized by people saying that they have to talk to him. So she's like, fine, you want to hear about it? I think we should break up.
Yeah.
Immediately, we go hang out with our nanny kids. We're in the pool. And he's texting her like, please don't leave me before we talk about this. Then on the way home,
I called him.
She called him. I pull up the FaceTime to end all FaceTimes. I got Alex, Chrissy, Jeremy, everybody on this FaceTime. She puts him on speaker and we're all just like reacting to this man.
I feel bad about that to this day, though. It's kind of fucked up.
I don't. He's walking by the highway. Mm-hmm. Done that. And he's saying all this stuff about...
My favorite thing about that whole thing, he was like, just tell me...
Oh, yeah. Like, for another... Oh.
Yeah, just tell me it wasn't because someone told you to break up with me. And I was like...
Yeah. He said it's because of Sarah, actually.
Because of Sarah, yeah. It wasn't. This was... I didn't want to be with him. Period. And so it just took a lot of...
Well, the nail in the coffin I wasn't even there for.
Right. It just... It was fucking Jarrett and Chrissy and Jeremy.
What an odd little trio.
I know. It was just... of course, I had to hear it from someone completely outside of all of this for me.
Not even me.
For me to hear it, for it to really get to my brain. So, yeah, it was not because of you. It was because I wasn't me. I couldn't find myself.
I felt like that wasn't me that night.
I finally discovered her again.
I'm geeked up. And so I think that this is a general message.
Yes.
That, first of all, if you see a red flag, it's a red flag. But also that the dynamic in your friendships is not for anyone who's outside of the friendship to judge.
Yeah.
However you interact with your friend is however you interact with your friend. And it however it works for you, it works for you. So do some people probably... I mean, everyone thinks things about other people's relationships. Like, I'm sure people think that I'm possessive toward Alex and that Alex is trapped. Like, I've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. The more outspoken one is always the one who's told that they are the more, like...
The one that's trapping.
Right. But I would always encourage people to, like, look at the thing that's, like, the root of the issue. Yes. At this point, Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And look into that and see what that is bringing into the friendship.
Yes.
Before you're like, it's you.
Yeah, in the end, all it took was, like, me stepping aside and really thinking about my relationship with you and, like, the fact that everything that I was worried about our friendship being, you were being jealous, overly jealous or something. And also, you were just, like, judging our relationship as an outsider, not knowing anything. To be fair, I didn't tell you anything, but, like, that's what you do. And then also, you not wanting to put in the work. All of those things were negated. All of those, like, you fixed on your own. And all of the millions of problems I had with him, he never wanted to fix.
Yeah.
And that's all
I feel like
it
I was
takes.
always pretty receptive to, like, oh, I'm acting this way, like I can try to do this.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's her, it's her.
And it's obviously, as a person, I like, you know, accountability and growth, and like that's the person I want to be around.
Yeah.
He didn't have that. I don't want to be around him, but you do.
Yeah. And there is the full recount of Nick at night.
Oh, okay.
This is Nick at noon. Everyone comes into your life for a reason or a season.
Yeah.
And he was a reason and a season.
Yes.
No, a season.
He was a season. Also
Yeah.
a reason, though.
Yeah.
Because I've learned a lot about myself and
well, I think
who
your
I
biggest takeaway is that, like, obviously, okay, that I'm telling you, that 25-year-old frontal lobe thing.
Truly.
As we get older, we think about, like, you say a lot that you don't know if you want to ever get married.
Yeah.
And, like, that's clarity.
Yeah, that is clarity. Well, it's not wanting to get married. I just, like, because I was so, like, hyper involved in that relationship, I want to be the complete opposite of that.
You're also not pressuring it to happen unnaturally.
Yeah, and like I said, I thought I couldn't love anybody, and I realized that's fucking stupid. Like, I can. I just haven't
You love
had the
other
opportunity.
people.
Yes.
Yeah. And you'll love the right person.
Right.
So stay true to you. Stay true to your friends.
And if you lose yourself,
find that bitch.
Just, obviously, I kept coming back. There's a reason I never stopped talking to you, even though we were fighting so much. Like, I think deep down, I knew I lost myself and I needed to find her again. So you go to the people that will help you with that.
Yeah, and if you're worried that you're losing yourself in a relationship, that's probably
numero uno sign.
Yeah, that's probably something to not ignore.
Yeah.
Do you feel better?
Much better.
She was always worried. She was worried about, like, how it would feel to say.
I just thought it would be like a whole lot of. I was afraid that we'd talk shit a lot, and I don't think we did that.
No, I'm not here to bash. I think there's an ass for every seat. And I think that he might even be with someone now. We don't know.
Yeah.
I think that there's someone who wants that, and you were not the one, and that's fine.
I think the same way.
But I have nothing. I never, in the moment, certainly yes. But now I don't have ill will.
No, me neither.
I don't wish anything bad upon him. I think
I look back on it and I'm like, it's kind of insane that we all went through that, because, like, I feel like the older we get, the more we're like that. The older we get, the less shit like that would happen, you know?
Yeah.
So
I don't think that
it's
ever happen now.
Right. So
for
I think
that long.
Right. And it took all of that happening for us all. I don't know what he's doing with his life, but he has since texted me. And
I remember that.
He told me that all the things I said when we broke up, like, he's been thinking about and, like, trying to fix. So, like,
I think he was fishing for a rekindling.
Yeah. I think he might have. But also, knowing my brother, who is very similar to this man, he might just be not doing that. So
he said, I thought a lot about what you said, and I've been trying to improve the things about myself. Her main thing when they broke up was that he's a really negative person.
Yes.
And so he said he was working to fix that.
And I hope he is.
Well,
it's all out there.
That was the Friend Podcast's story time for you. And until next time, bye, friend.
Bye, friend.
All that drama when we unpack our trauma today.